GIF, some people say GIF, is an ideal format in which to optimize graphics that have large areas of solid color, like a logo, an illustration, or text. When you optimize a GIF, you'll try to make it as small as possible, but keep it looking good. I'm starting here with this .psd file, that's a Photoshop document file. To optimize it as a GIF for the web, I'll choose File, Save for Web and Devices. In the Save for Web and Devices window, I'm going to use the 2-up tab this time. You could use the 4-up or the Optimize tab. On the left side here is the original PSD file, and on the right side is a copy of the file as it will look optimized as a GIF with the settings that you see over here on the right. And the most important of those settings is also displayed underneath the GIF preview over here. This is telling me that at the moment this GIF contains 32 colors. The maximum number of colors that a GIF can contain is 256. I'm going to go ahead and change the number of colors in the file to 256 so you can see what that looks like. I'll go to the Colors field up at the top right, and I'll choose 256 from the drop-down menu. And then in the color table, I can see all of the 256 colors that are currently in this GIF preview. There are many more colors than that in the original PSD file, particularly around the edges of objects, like this blue circle, where there are multiple shades of blue that help make the edge of the circle look smooth. And the same is true around the edge of the type here and the other objects in the graphic. When I optimize as a GIF, all of those colors are indexed down to the limited number of colors here in the color table. The main thing that you can do to reduce the file size of a GIF is to reduce the number of colors in it. Right now, this GIF, with 256 colors, will be 16.78 kilobytes. I'd like to see if I can get that number down. The approach I usually take is to go up to the Colors field and start reducing the number of colors in the file by choosing these presets. So I'll choose 128, and I'll keep my eye on the file. It looks good to me. Down here I see that I've reduced the file size to 14.53 kilobytes. And I'll just continue to do that in this menu, moving down to 64 colors. I think that still looks good. I'll try 32. I'm still happy with that. And 16. Now at 16, I'm starting to see the image degrade a little bit around the edge of the black type, the blue circles, and the orange highway sign. I'm seeing some jagged edges. So I probably wouldn't take it down this far. But just to show you how this works, I'm going to take the colors all the way down to 2. And as you can see, almost everything goes away because there are now only 2 colors here, green and black. And here's how the graphic looks with only 4 colors. With 8 colors, it's getting a little better, although you can see that the orange of the sign is gone because there is no orange in the color table. So I think that 32 was the best choice here. I'll go back to 32 colors in this file. Now my file size is 11.12 kilobytes. Another thing that I can do to try to reduce the file size is to go to the dither field and reduce the amount of dither. Dithering is the computer's attempt to simulate a color that isn't here in the color table. Dithering can make some images look better, particularly if there are gradual transitions between colors, like a gradient, for example. But dithering often increases file size. So I'm not just going to reduce the dither here, I'm actually going to turn it off altogether from this menu right here. I'll choose no dither, and I can see that I've reduced the file size even further by doing that, and I think the image still looks pretty good. Another thing I can do to bring file size down in a GIF is to go to the lossy field and add a little bit of lossy compression. I'll click the arrow to the right of the lossy field, and I'll pull the lossy slider up a bit. I don't want to go too far with lossy compression, or the image will degrade. That choice reduced the file size even further. Now I'm under 10 kilobytes. Another thing that I can try in order to reduce the size of this GIF is to change the color reduction palette right up here, which basically is a formula that determines which colors, in this case which 32 colors, will populate the color table. The selective color palette, which is currently selected, is very similar to the perceptual and the adaptive palettes. All 3 of those look at the original source image and select colors from the image, but each one by using a different formula. The best approach here is just to try each one and see which one creates a smaller file with the best appearance. So right now it's set to selective, and my file is 9.402K. If I try perceptual, I see that the file size decreases further. Now it's 9.115K, and it still looks good. Let's try adaptive, and that actually reduces the file size the most, down to 8.945K. Before I leave this menu, I want to show you one more menu choice here, and that's the restrictive palette. Watch what happens when I choose this. I've actually lost so many of the original colors that I can't see some of the objects in my optimized GIF. What the restrictive palette does is shift the colors in the original file to web-safe colors. And in the color table, you can see that all these colors are web-safe because they have a small diamond in their center. So the restrictive palette is not the right choice here, and in many cases it's not the right choice. I generally stick with the selective, adaptive, or perceptual palettes. So now I have an image that's less than 9 kilobytes. So I'll click the Save button, and in the Save Optimized As dialog box, I'll save to my desktop, and I'm just going to save images only. I'll click the Save button, and then I'm going to go out to my desktop to find the GIF that I just created. I'm going to open that, and in Photoshop, I'm going to go to the Arrange Documents menu and choose this 2-up view so that I can compare the GIF on the right to the original image on the left. I think this GIF looks quite good. It certainly is much smaller, and it's in a format that can be viewed online. So those are some techniques for optimizing a graphic as a GIF. Start with an image that has large areas of flat color, reduce the number of colors in the GIF, try reducing the amount of dithering, and adding some lossy compression to get the GIF as small as possible but keep it looking good.